What's a good word, Josh? Your boy DKB here. So this isn't unique to me, but I feel like there's a special kind of hell in being out of market. I'm in the West Coast, trying to check in on games, and I hate. I used to, go to the game cast, and I used to watch the stat sheets. Then, being on apps like no Sleeper, being on the sleeper apps for fantasy football and stuff, and kind of seeing the ebbs and flows of the games. It's a special kind of hell going back to watch the live reaction for a game that you already know was atrocious, just so I can see if I can pick out any kind of silver linings, any glimmer of hope that I can really glean from such a terrible performance. But no, this gives me strong shades of the New York Giants versus New York Jets game from last year. This is throwaway tape. This is honestly a game where everything that could have gone wrong went wrong. And it's so frustrating at this point to continue to have to talk about Nathaniel Hackett and the job he's doing. The tight end coach of everybody on your roster, not the down tight ends, because we know how vitally important they are to the games. But you can see this year, for example, the production being way below the bar from what we're accustomed to. A good tight end, a great tight end is perfect to have, but Ron Middleton should not still be the best coach on the offensive side of the ball for us. And he has nothing to do with play calling. He has nothing to do necessarily with game planning because we haven't been able to utilize our tight ends for anything outside of the Patriots game where Tyler Conklin was able to really be that savior for Aaron Rodgers on some broken plays or some extended plays. So, you know, there's some themes here: lack of creativity, lack of aggressiveness. You look at every coach in the NFL who operates a script in some capacity, and yet Nathaniel Hackett has not seen a single one work outside of the Patriots game. And so, by that mark, we're 4 games in. 3 of those games have looked absolutely atrocious for the New York Jets. We haven't been able to move the ball. We're seeing tons of 3 and outs. You're seeing quote unquote uncharacteristic football. Everybody from the players themselves on both sides of the ball to Aaron Rodgers to the coaching staff, everybody has pointed to focus as being a part of the issue. And that's a damning indictment if I've ever heard one, right? You had 10 days, give or take, a day or two, to not only rest up, but get prepared, look at game tape, come up with an immaculate game plan, and you end up walking away with egg on your face, tail between your legs, zero answers to speak of, right? Aaron Rodgers is going to take the credit because that's what you do in his position. Elite quarterback, you know what he meant to the team, you know what the purpose was. This was not on him. Yes, not his best game, plenty of opportunities for him, but the fact that zero people stepped up to help him out, help make his job easier, from Garrett Wilson, from Brees Hall, from the offensive line, from the coaching staff, his best friend, Nathaniel Hackett. I don't know. There should have been questions about what Aaron Rodgers thought about the game plan because how do you get put in this position? A rookie quarterback and a team that can't put up anything more than 10 points should never be able to beat us. Never say never, but I mean, realistically, Bart Scott's mentioned it. Players on the team are definitely thinking it. This is, not even shades of last year. This is reliving the pain and horror of last year. And this time, you have no excuses, which, by the way, this team isn't necessarily improved because we're developing players, which is another thing that is ticking me off. No disrespect to any of these position coaches, but Ron Middleton should not be the best coach on your offensive staff, especially factoring in the fact that we haven't been able to really have a strong tight end presence. And I don't know how long. Dustin Keller, right? Where you can see him being implemented into the game plan. You can see where we're legitimately targeting him against a weak, linebacking core or anything along those lines. And to think that we've improved in the quarterback room just because Aaron Rodgers returned, you improved the running back room because Brees Hall is still that dude. Braylon Allen looks like another beast. So you have a two-headed monster. I really appreciate Isaiah Davis's talents. The tight end room, I would argue Jeremy Ruckert is still improving. Tyler Conklin is still a fringe tight end, top 10 tight end in my opinion. The offensive line, fresh blood in. We haven't improved necessarily because the coaching staff has developed players. On that side of the ball specifically, we've improved because of health and we've improved because of players that we decide to acquire. And that's really one of the biggest problems that's here. Now, specifically with Nathaniel Hackett, there's a reason why we wanted to hide him. Let's not forget, I don't care about the best friend, theatrics that we have out there. He shouldn't have a job right now, guys. He should really be fired. At this point, you have seen very little success, and I'm not even including the Patriots game in this. Todd Downing should be seriously considered for play calling duties at this point, or Ron Middleton, or Robert Saleh. Take the take the reins here. Something has to change because at this point, as we've seen so far through 4 games, it takes an elite. That's not even saying elite. It takes an immaculate performance by Aaron Rodgers to essentially be able to get us over the hurdle. And the hurdle being a losing culture, a coaching staff offensively, and you can tie Robert Saleh in as the head coach that has no clue how to game plan against defenses, and a team that doesn't respond to whatever the message that's being spoken in the offensive room. The defense clearly has a standard, they have development, they have depth, and yes, we have our problems there. Run defense. You can argue the linebackers to a certain degree. You can argue the safeties to a certain degree. You can even argue some of the lackluster performances that you've seen from Sauce Gardner at certain periods of time, or the lack of development in certain areas, such as tackling for Sauce Gardner. But wholesale, the defense is not a problem. Special teams, not a problem. Irv Charles looks like he could replace Hardy, right? You have a rotation of guys that look like they could be very good as a gunner, return kickoff coverages, punt return coverages. You have obviously have Xavier Gibson as a weapon. You had guys like Brenton Codrington that you found that look like they could be weapons. Offensively, and it's a scoring league, where's the standard? Where's the consistency? Where is, and we've tried to work on the accountability as we got excited about over the off season with benching guys and stuff, but obviously the memo isn't sticking. And to me, Nathaniel Hackett is 100% the problem here. Now, I don't know if there's politics in play. If you bench him, Aaron Rodgers feels some kind of way, and whatever that rabbit hole ends up bringing for us. But even Rodgers can't deny at this point the team isn't responding. And how do you change that? I'll use one of his own examples where we were just coming off of the cadence conversation, right, as part of pre snap penalties. That is more the exception to the rule than the rule. In Nathaniel Hackett's case, his tenure is he has what, almost 20 games under his belt. How many games of that have we looked at and said, "Hey, you pulled off a masterful job here," right? Maybe three, maybe three. Titans game, Patriots game this year, and then maybe the Chiefs last year. And I want to say maybe the Eagles, but that was more from like a creativity standpoint and just being able to try to go out and move the ball against a great defense. So I don't know. I don't know. I'm actually seriously starting to get concerned about where our season could end up. because Aaron Rodgers got tagged. I want to say the ballpark number that I saw was 14, but let's just say overall between sacks and actual QB hits, he got touched up somewhere between 20 and 24 times. He walked off the field limping. He's bruised up, he's beat up. No QB in the league. And mind you, he threw 45 passes. This is one of the things that really ticked me off about the game planning for the Broncos was you were in the perfect environment. Weather issues, obviously the passing game wasn't hitting the way you expected it to hit, but still, you can at least be an explosive passing attack, or you can be an efficient one that finds a way to pick its spots. This should have been a run heavy game plan the moment you realize weather was going to impact things, and not run to say that it needs to be our standard running joke for the Jets run, run, pass. There's ways to mix things up there. It was obvious to everybody but Hackett, and the fact that it's almost like we refuse to utilize the best guys for situational football. Braylon Allen, anywhere inside the red zone, but definitely at the goal line, should be your go-to option. It doesn't matter if you have Brees Hall, and even if he is a top two running back in the league, you have a player specifically suited to go out there and be able to buck defensive linemen, push linebackers out the way, and truck any safeties and cornerbacks that are trying to step up for him. If you're having an outsider inside run, give that man the ball. Figure out a way to utilize Alan Lazard and his physical profile in the red zone. Garrett Wilson, you should be able to utilize him in motion. You should be able to put him in the slot to give yourself easier slash better matchups. All of this is obvious to the naked eye for us as fans, right? And me specifically, I have general football knowledge, right? Maybe you would consider me to have above average knowledge. Either way, I'm nowhere near the mind that I'm sure even Nathaniel Hackett has, but any of the football players on the field, you have to be, if I'm an offensive player under employment with the Jets right now, I'm looking at the last couple years, depending on if you're a rookie or not, and I'm saying to myself, this staff, for what I'm looking for guidance and leadership for, has no idea what they're doing, right? And Garrett Wilson's wise words, offense shouldn't be this hard. It shouldn't be. So I don't know. I had to kind of talk about it. I was going to do a recap video. I was going to bring back Jets therapy, kicking off night live streams and stuff, but I just kind of had to get some of these thoughts out there verbally so I can try to make sense of what's happening because we have the Vikings coming up. We're 500 right now, still in a good place for playoffs even. But Sam Darnold could be he could be the nail in the coffin for us, mentally speaking. A QB that you cast away because you didn't think you were going to be able to make it work with him. And yes, I understand the cap, part of it where it just made sense to reset the, entire team, et cetera, et cetera. But Sam Darnold could come in and he could complete he could potentially come through and steamroll our defense, and Aaron Rodgers could get swallowed up by Brian Flores' Vikings defense. It is what it is. Let me know what you guys think. What's the fix here, right? I think that needs to be essentially the ending talking point here. How do we fix this? Because it's not going to be as easy as just firing Nathaniel Hackett or getting him out of the building. But I do think that's one of the first steps that you have to start with. Any OC worth his salt should be able to make this roster work in some capacity. Elite running back, elite wide receiver one. You're seeing a little bit better depth than maybe we expected. Obviously, Mike Williams coming on now, but Alan Lazard stepping back into what made him a reasonable free agent acquisition. And then the unexpected emergence again of Braylon Allen, but let alone the offensive line also improved. Didn't look like it during the Broncos, but yeah, I don't know. Let me know what you guys think. Help make sense of some of the rambling here for me. I'll catch you guys again. Peace.